Welcome everybody. We've got another week. We're getting ready to kick off a bunch of series with some special guests. We got some national coaches. We got some team leaders lined up of mega teams. We've got a nationwide lender that's going to come in and talk to us. But today, we really wanted to focus one more week in our current series, which is really about growing teams, growing your brokerage. And so today we're going to address a little bit about why even offer the 100% model. How is that even possible, and why would you offer it? And so I think Phil had a great start to that and bringing up that. So I'm going to let him take it.
So I think, one of the downfalls of running a team model, and again, a team model can be, it doesn't have to be one size fits all, but if you've got a team model where you're providing some kind of admin support, some kind of lead routing, some kind of marketing to your agents, some coaching and some training, I think the downfall of running that team model is if you get people in who, they take on your training, they start figuring it out, they start leveling up, they start getting into production. And after, 18 months, 2 years, 3 years of being with you, they've said, hey, I appreciate you helping me get started, but now I'm kind of ready to go out and blaze my own trail. And I've just seen this over and over and over. Before I started my company a little over 2 years ago, I was at a company that was like that. It was a company that was, well known in our area for training new agents, and they would get agents up to where they became, solid producers. And those people would, for the most part, would leave that brokerage because they kind of felt like, hey, this is kind of a great setup for new agents, but now I'm wanting to go start my own team, or I want to go start my own brokerage. So something that we were talking about, this morning, and then before we hit record here is an option that you might want to do. If you are a team leader, possibly maybe you can make this work, maybe you can't, but for sure, if you're a broker owner, you should consider having a 100% or a very, very low, split model, so that you can take agents where maybe, you're providing them transaction coordination and listing input services and not charging them anything for technology and office fees. Maybe you need to have a model where you can shift them over to where they are more independent. They get to keep more of their money. They're still using the same systems that you've been training them and advising them and working on deals with them on. But now those people can go out and blaze their own trail. They can go out. We've got an onboarding going on in our office right now in the next room over. And some of those people can swap to a 100% or a very low, split model. And they can start going out and recruiting agents and training agents. And because you've given it to them at a very, affordable structure, they can recruit people in and maybe keep them a little bit longer. So I think the problem is that if you're running a team concept of any kind, you're really good people who kind of take off and do the things you tell them to do. They're going to leave you after a certain amount of time. If they're really good, if they really have that kind of entrepreneur mindset, and instead of trying to just keep them on your team forever, why not open it up? And now, not only do you have a great team structure that you could offer to an agent, now your value could be that, hey, I've got a career path that I can put you on. You can start off on my team, and if you get to X number of production, you do X number of closings, you can swap over to this other model here, and you can do that solo for a while if you want to. You can start your own team, and you can still tap into some of the resources that we have here within our team or within our brokerage. So it really becomes a retention tool, number one. Again, if their options are to leave you and go to another brokerage, that's definitely not a win. If they stay with you, and even if you're not making but $200 or $300 on every transaction they do, again, that's $200 or $300 of profit coming in for deals that you're not having to work. For leads that you're not providing them. They're pretty much self-sufficient because you taught them the right way to do it. And so instead of trying to hold people back, you have kind of set them on a career path that maybe other people don't have that ability to be able to do. So again, it's a small win. It's a little bit bittersweet. We've seen that happen in my office this summer. 3 of our really, really great agents who are on our team said, you know what, They've either taken their broker test, or they just have that goal of going out there and starting a team. And we've told them from the beginning, hey, we're not going to hold you back from doing that. If you hit these benchmarks, we will support you every way we can. It's a little bit bittersweet, but now they're going out there and they're recruiting agents, they're training agents. So essentially, for me as the broker owner, I've got extra trainers and extra recruiters on staff who are growing my brokerage without me really having to be super involved in it. So it's become a huge win. And it's just a retention tool and just one more cog in your wheel that you can add to somebody's overall experience as an agent. Instead of trying to hold them back, hey, I can give you this career path. So Charles has seen a little bit of that in his office too. It is a little bit bittersweet, but Charles, have you seen kind of the same thing in your office?
Yeah, and actually what we started doing to piggyback off retention is when a new agent comes on board is we show them that progression. Hey, look, you're going to be a buyer's agent. Now you're going to get a few listings and buyers, then more listings. So you show them that to where they're just doing listings. And then they bring, so we like to show them that goal right away. So hopefully they're going towards that by staying with us. And like you said, it is bittersweet when they move up to that level and now you're not making as much, but at the same time, like, it's funny, we talked about marketing agreements earlier today, and just by having that agent on, even though you're only making 200 or 300, but you're able to shift some of that production to your lender, to your title, whatever, that's that revenue, whether it's market agreement, joint ventures. So there's so much more about to keeping an agent than a couple $100. And I'll have people say all the time, like, why don't you just let that agent go? They're more of a headache to you than anything. I'm like, you're right. But, making X amount of dollars is more important than dealing with that. So when they want to move up, yeah, you don't really want to, but that's the progression that they need to be taken. So it's great that we get to help them go that route. But at the same time, it's great that they think that they can just stay with us and move up and not have to go join another firm. But to caveat what they're saying, Bill, you have to have a good split for those next level ones, because they could go get an 80-20 somewhere, maybe 9-10 or something. But to really show it, you get the 100% model in there, there's no reason for them to leave. They already have the systems. It's the same cost, but now they get 100% of their commission. So it's kind of a no-brainer. But I made the mistake of not even getting the word out to some of my team agents that it's there. And one came was like, hey, thank you, but I'm leaving. I'm like, where are you going? And I don't want to say the name of the company, but they did have a 100% thing too. I was like, but that we have 100% too with experience. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, well, I'll stay. So I'm like, man, I got to do a better job of really getting that word out to showing, hey, we got more than what you just see as a team member, because we are team heavy, and a lot of them just didn't know. So we're now kind of educating them on that model, like you said, bringing other people on and so forth. So that's kind of what we've experienced with it is using as retention.
Yeah, you put so much time and effort and energy into getting these agents in production and teaching them the right way to do it. I mean, our office is a lot of, brand new agents or agents who have been in the business for a year or two and just really haven't done a whole lot of production, and we're kind of having to reteach them. And if things go well, I mean, if they do what you tell them to do and things go well, the hope is eventually they will want to make that jump. And I think as a team leader, those options for that person is they can go start their own thing. They could go to another company and start a team there. Or if you've got an option for them to stay put, that's why the 100% goes so well, because if you've always been on a team and everybody's always been taking care of everything for you, you're not being invoiced a lot of money every month. The thought of that agent going out and renting a building and having to pay for E&O insurance and all that kind of stuff is really, you're kind of going like 3 steps further than where they're at today. And so this 100% model, offering that as a way for them to move up, they can't go out and start their own brokerage cheaper than what they can, staying under your 100% model. So I think it's a win-win for just about everybody involved. At the end of the day, you probably still will lose some of those because they just still want to go out and start their own. But if they have a way to stay with you and do what they want to do and protect their investment, protect their finances, it's a huge win-win. So for those who are out there running a team or running a brokerage, I guess the overall kind of, the message for today is you don't want to just be like a one-trick pony, like don't just have one model. I've just seen that, just as I've studied, our local brokerages here in our area, as I've talked to people in other areas, I've talked to team leaders in other places. One of the big frustrations with running a team, regardless of what company you're a part of, is your really good people are eventually going to leave you probably. And if they're going to leave, why don't you make it where they can stay with you within your company, within your brokerage, if you're the broker owner, and make it a huge win for them, and let other agents in the office see. That's something we're starting to see too. We've had 3 agents this summer decide that they want to go that route. And now other agents in the office are like, well, I didn't even know I could do that. Like, I just thought we had the partner model and that was all we had. So like Charles is saying, we're tomorrow morning, we're doing a little, 30, 45-minute training on here's kind of what the career progression can look like for an agent at First Class, because a lot of them were not here when we first, came on with First Class. And so you do have to remind them of that. And I like what Charles said about letting them know that right up front as well.
Yeah, we've even put it in our orientation, because even during the recruiting phase, they might not even realize what all was going on. They're just hearing all the great perks. So even during orientation now, we're taking it to where we're explaining, all right, buyer's agent, listed agent, team leader, this, and show them those different paths so they can kind of pick whichever way that they want to go.
I mean, that's what you see, that perception, right, from veteran agents who never have been explained that there's more, right? They've come in and they say, well, what's the highest I can go working for you, basically? And everyone assumes that's, oh, well, I just start a team and then I get a mega team. And then, like, what sense does it make to have this giant team and work for somebody else? And, you look and you say, what business model, from a brokerage will support that growth? Because when you feel like you're capped is when you start to get disenfranchised and you start to look for other options, right? Because you feel like you're just bumping this ceiling. You're like, my income's not going to move, but I'm working so hard for this. And so to get into a model to offer into the 100%, it takes out what you see in some other companies with like caps and half caps and things along those lines. You're like, gosh, if I'm a broker, like, I don't ever want you to leave because I'm giving up so much revenue. But the reality is they're going to leave for something better. And if you don't, like Charles and and you both said, Phil, it's like I had people that were asking for it who I didn't know was available, and like we have it on posters and banners, and it's all over our mastermind Facebook for everybody. It's like, gosh, I can't believe someone wouldn't know that we don't cap that we want to be a part of your personal growth, and so I've seen it time and time again too, where even agents who leave us, and then it seems like now, I mean, our agent count is growing, kind of ridiculous, but I'm seeing from a big corporate standpoint, 3 or 4 of those are return agents that keep coming, and it's like they left and they go, ooh, you know what? Y'all do have something special, and you do care about my growth. I'm not a number, Now, as business owners, we do track numbers and we do all that stuff, but from a person-to-person level, it's like, let me show you, let me coach you into this thing that you want to go to, because they're scared to go. Like, people are like, I don't know that I want to take the risk of opening my own brokerage. But the reality is we can even coach you through that side too, right? So there are unknown things, but it's like, hey, we can actually move you, I guess, and still not the end of the road for you and for us. Like, I can still help you grow even to that next level. And I think when you describe that to someone and you share them and you're passionate about it, our agents are starting to figure out, man, this 100% model, like, it's not going away. It's not a fad. It makes a win for the agent, and it gives a retention for the broker, who can still make a little bit of money without taxing an entrepreneur, because a true entrepreneur-minded person is going to take a look at it and say, I'd rather go this direction than to leave because this person has supported me. So it's a winner all around for me.
Yeah. It also, another great thing about it too is that you come up through the organization using the same transaction management platform, the same CRM, all the same tools. And when you swap over to that model, you're not having to reinvent and go out and shop and find those, which is KV Core or Boomtown or, which one's going to be the best deal for me, when I go out and start my own thing. The great thing about offering a 100% model within your existing infrastructure is that they don't have to reinvent everything. So, some people are very, very resistant to change. I've had to do it several times throughout my career, swapping from a franchise to an independent brokerage that I owned, and now I'm the owner of a franchise. So we've had to relearn things. There's some growing pains that come with that kind of stuff, and the thought of having to restart, and especially if you are one of those agents who's thinking about going 100% or starting your own, you probably have a decent amount of business going on, and you might not have time to sit down and say, hey, for 2 or 3 months, I'm gonna have to relearn a whole new system. So there's familiarity there. They can still tap into our office admin and our transaction coordinator. They just, they don't get it for free anymore. They don't get it included
call
anymore.
KV Core and tell them you want a 5-license office set up and hear what they say back. And you're going to be like,
that's right.
Ooh, hey, I got a good deal going on technology,
That's
They're
right.
quoting $750 or $1,000. You're like, well, that's the end of my brokerage in one call. So
Yep, that's right. Yeah, it can get expensive pretty quick. So I guess that's kind of the overall message of today is I don't believe the 100% model is going away. I think it's here to stay. And certainly there's a lot of agents who would not do well under a 100% model, and they need that person guiding them and mentoring them and helping them grow their business. But adding a 100% commission model to your existing organization, if you don't have one already, is a great way to increase your retention rate, and it allows those people who have done well under the things you've taught them to go out and grow your organization without you having to put them on payroll. Because if they go start their own team, it's in their best interest to add agents and to train those agents and to get them in production, and all that stuff is basically going on without you having to really touch it a whole lot. So you spend a lot of time with them that year or two that they're with you, and now they go out and do their own thing, and other than some little mentoring here and hey, let's get back, let's pull out our compass and make sure we're going the right direction and not going down a rabbit trail here. It really can be a huge win for you. And that's something that we're pretty excited about within our organization, to see those people who have done well under our team model, our partner model, who are now going out there and starting teams. So just something to think about. You might like it, you might not like it, but I think as a broker owner or a team leader, you ought to consider offering a 100% commission split model or flat fee commission split model for those agents who are probably going to leave you. And maybe instead of them leaving you, you can keep them on board, make a little bit of money, keep them in your organization, and then show other agents that, hey, here's the clear path to get to where this agent is now. They didn't have to leave our company to go grow this team, So I think it's a huge win for a lot of reasons.
Yeah, and two, when you're a growing team leader, brokerage, everything you should look at bringing on a new system or just a new procedure is this scalable? Can I scale this? Can I double, triple, whatever to keep the growth going? And by having a 100% model attached to, if you got a team or just having it, the answer is yes. That is extremely scalable. There's no ceiling to it, because the 70-30 or 100%, or whatever the different splits are, you can counteract that with that 100%. But at the same time, you can run your own team too and do those kind of splits. So when we adapted and said, oh yeah, we want 100% part of our thing, that my main thought was I can easily scale this. I can have as many agents come on board with this program and succeed and not have to worry about it. Where as a team, you got to be careful. You scale up too much with it and you're not structured or there's not enough leads, it'll do it. But having a 100% model, sky's the limit. I mean, really, you can, as long as you got the staff to keep good customer service for them, I mean, the retention should be out of control. And we haven't, knock on wood, haven't ever lost a 100%er yet. A lot of the partners might have left not knowing we had it maybe at sometimes, because unfortunately sometimes I don't get to do all the exit interviews, but or the onboarding. But so when I get to, sometimes I don't get to explain all that to them. But again, the whole adding 100% to me, even if it's not 100%, a higher split one for your next level people, because they'll leave, and that's why we get Berkshire Hathaway, Keller Williams, because they don't really have that. And yeah, you can cap out, but you've already paid so much in. It's like, dude, why am I going to leave now? I've just already paid them all this money. So it's like they get kind of stuck in there. And by having 100% no cap or even a 95, whatever, like Remax, you're immediately ahead of that curve. But when people progress, let's say at a company that has a cap, 70-30, they're on a team, they do well, they go on their own, dude, they're turning around getting right back on another team with a $25,000 cap. So it's almost like, why would you switch to do your own business, but you're still pretty much making the same when it's said and done. So, now people are starting to get smarter. They're seeing these 100% companies out here, and there were some fly-by-night models at first, which I think people shied away from. But now you're seeing the bigger, badder people come along having that, and I feel like down the road, people are going to start to get smart and just find the ones who gives the most value and 100%. Where it used to be, who's got 70-30 and the lowest cap? I think now it's going to be who's got 100% in the best CRMs, transaction management, stuff like that.
I agree. All right. Any final thoughts as we wrap up? All right. We got a good guy lined up next week, right?
That's right. Yep.
Any, you want to pre-intro a little bit?
So next week we've got a guy coming on who I think, in my opinion, is one of the best phone prospectors out there. And, a lot of people think, hey, the phones are dead. People aren't answering the phone anymore. I think you want to hear what he's got to say about it next week, because when you hear some of the numbers that he and his team are doing through just calling people on the phone, using the same script over and over and over, you might be leaving a lot of money on the table by believing that the phones are dead. So you definitely want to tune in next week. And, if you're watching this and you're a team leader or you're thinking about being a team leader or a broker runner, I hate to tell you, you're still going to have to prospect. Right? You're still going to have to call agents instead of sellers and buyers. So you want to hear what he has to say on that side of it as well. So he's a super high energy guy. We're going to try to rein him in for about 20 or 30 minutes. And I think he's going to bring a lot of good, valuable content. So you don't want to miss him.
Can't wait. See y'all next week.
All right.
See ya.